and welcome to Refugee's channel. My name is Rafia, and today we have Shahram with us as a guest. Shahram, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, yes. Hello, and my name is Shahram, as you said, and I'm from Iran. And since October 2016, I'm in Europe, but since June of 2017, I came to Germany. Of course, because of so many problems, as you will mention and I will mention about them, I decided to exit and come to Europe.
Okay. What were the reasons that made you flee from your home country?
To be honest with you, music, especially classic music, for girls and for women is not allowed to do like men. And for example, we have no opera after the revolution. It's since 40 years ago, 1978, and the system in Iran doesn't let us to have opera projects. And the reason is women are not allowed to sing alone and like a solo singers. And for example, if you want to have Die Zauberflöte by Mozart, you can't have Queen of the Night, and it means completely opera is forbidden. And I'm an opera singer, and I used to sing opera, but not in the opera projects, like a concert. And of course, I was and I am still losing my career because of my age and the possibilities which I could have so many years before. And also about some political and religious problems, because I'm coming from a very religious country, and they are so completely strict about the problems against the religion. And I made music as well on internet, which was about the female, and it is a feminist track. It got more than 5,000 likes, and I became to be a known person there. And then I got papers from them and warnings. And then, beside this activation and being activator about the politics, and normally I have had so much students, and most of them were hetero persons, and some of them were homosexual. And they were so much time asking me, we feel a complete man, but we don't know what's going on with our voices. We sound like women. And in that time I realized they are transsexual, but they were shy to talk even to me. And I explained them that could be because of hormone therapy, because of testosterone, and so on. Also, when I was talking about these things, which was forbidden, I was kicked out from the system of teaching, and so many other reasons we will talk about.
You were kicked out of the university because you were supporting trans students or explaining them what is going on with their voice.
Exactly, because they had to know what's going on with the voice. And normally when we have to talk about the opera, we have so many librettos and let's say the stories about the opera, and we have some characters which are homosexual persons inside the you can call it theater, or we will say libretto in opera. And also about the fetishism, which is still unknown things in Iran and so many other countries. And also they said you are making the people in the religious country more open-minded about these things, and we don't want that, and it is completely against our religion and our system. Of course, they had to know that.
Yeah. And how is
Sorry. Basil bittet darum, dass ihr vielleicht doch in die Kamera guckt.
Ja, will zwei Leute diskutieren.
Ja.
Die andere Leute zu sehen, ist keine...
Ansonsten läuft es sehr schön.
That's why they told me you don't have to look.
Sometimes we should cook, sometimes, just not all the time.
Yeah,
just
perfect.
keep moving or something.
Es läuft sehr schön.
Yeah, okay.
We will start from zero?
No.
Okay.
Is it okay if I ask about the situation of trans people in Iran?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, okay. So, so do you know more about the situation of transgender people in Iran? Do you have had connection with them many time outside of university and in music industry?
Well, I used to be in touch with them and get contact with them, especially, for example, still I am engaged with them and talking with them. There is a special Heim in Berlin, and it is especially for queer people. I'm so apologize because I can't mention the address. It has to be protected as well. But the thing which is clear for us and also for people is you are not allowed to stay in Iran if you don't want to make operation. If you don't want to make operation, you have to pay penalty, and sometimes they can hang you up and they can kill you, because it's completely against the religion to stay, for example, with two gender in the sex part of the body, and then normally when they come to Iran, they come to Europe, they have to sign, they have to mention a name for them, and so many times they are not pleased and happy with these names, but they have to, and they have to choose the names of prophets. It's not allowed also in Iran to choose a name of Christianity names, like a Christian names, like Peter or Jesus or Jesus, because it's forbidden. And even as well, we are not allowed to have the names of our kings, because we were a kingdom country. And as you know, as I said, 40 years ago, we have had a revolution, and then another system came, and so many forbidden things came. For example, drinking alcohol and hanging around with the opposite sex. Everything, I think, most of the things are forbidden as well. But you asked me about the transsexuals. I have heard, I'm not sure, but I've heard about so many transsexuals who are coming from Iran. They said sometimes also they made electronic shock to their bodies, and it's horrible, I think, because it's against the humanity and against the rights about the humans. And after a while, they get so much psychological problems. They don't. They lose the personality, the character, and they get so much. How do you call it? Racism against the I can say homophobia, and so on. Even in Iran and sometimes here, because they are really sensitive persons.
So it means the only way to be a trans person in Iran would be if you completely get either like medical operations. So it's not possible to be a non-binary or between genders and not changing
That's
your
a
body.
must. You must do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are against the system which works in Iran.
I asked because in Germany for asylum seekers, it's often the decision is on basis of for Iranian transgender people, they get refused because the German government BAMF say it's allowed to get operations in Iran. It's allowed to be a trans person in your country, so you don't have to come here.
I think another problem which is existing for them is the family, because even though when you do the operation, because of being a religious country, it's because of the culture. And they are not acceptable anymore, because the parents, they know they have been not, I don't want to call them unnormal, they are all also of course normal, but to the eyes of the most of Iranian families, they are not normal people. And if also they do the operation, the minds and the thinking about them is still sick. And that's why they have to escape from that hell to come to the place which is more respectful for them. And if I am not wrong, the previous year, at the last month of 2017, Germany finally agreed with marriage of homosexuals. And then it's a good news. And then I think finally Germany did it, and I'm so happy for that. And it had so much work to do, but finally Germany accepted it. And I think it can be like a protection area for them, and because otherwise if they can't be killed by government, they can be killed by normal people.
The society,
By the society.
Yeah. That brings me to the question, how was it for you as being an opera singer with your family and your friends, and did they accept it? How was their reaction when they knew that you want to become a singer?
I think it wonders you because we have no opera since, as I said, 40 years ago. But people got to know about the opera, of course not as Germans and Europeans and American people, they know about the opera, more or less because of the media, because of the YouTube, because of the possibilities. Iranians also know as well. Opera, we have got very good singers, very good opera singers in Iran. Of course, the system of teaching is still sick. But my mother was the only person, and also my sister, they are the only persons who always made me on the way of singing. And they were applauding me, and they pushed me to go front. And then my father also, but not as my mother and my sister. And first time, maybe more than 15 years ago, I started. I was so young, and I did it by my Georgian teacher, Franco Tenelli. And I started to get know about the techniques. And after I started to do that in Iran, of course, until I think 10 years ago, it was not existing anymore to do opera, to try about the opera, because we can't make opera. But I think 6 years ago, we have had an opera, Giannis Kiki by Puccini. And after that performance, I've heard the people and the characters, they had to pay penalty for that. Because I've heard that opera was, the project was like this. The project and the people said, the character said, we want to do Giannis Kiki like a theater, and we don't sing. We don't let the girls and our female voices to sing. Then they got the possibility, an agreement, and certifications about everything. And finally, at the original day and the main day, when the real day when they wanted to perform, they did it complete opera, and they had to pay penalty after that. And I think still they are not allowed to work.
Good. And how did you learn? I mean, how who was your teacher? Did you watch YouTube videos, or you?
As I said, Franco Tenelli, he is known by Zaza Zalishvili. The name is Georgish Name, the Georgian name, because sometimes when I say in Georgia, they make it confusing about the America, but yeah, it is Ruslan. Yeah. It's the neighborhood of Russia, and in Tbilisi, and he is well-known opera singer and teacher, and he used to be a student of Maestro Nodar Antguladze, a metropolitan opera singer. And then I got to know so much things from him. Of course, not from Iran and in Iran. And
you went to Georgia?
In Tbilisi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, in Iran still there is opera, but theoretical. Like there is no practical and physical sensations anymore.
Interesting. And how is it? If I can ask, how are you? Said you are in Europe since a year, since
1 year and a half, I think. 1.5 years.
How's your experience over here until now?
I think since I came to Europe, of course, first of all, I came to Italy. I have had a friend, and still I have her. She sent me an invitation to the International Society for Young Singers, and I was invited to be as a member of jury. And after I finished my visa, of course, Italy was not the place which I wanted to go. But when I finished the visa, I wanted to come to Germany. During the way, unfortunately, I lost my documents, including my passport, my special certifications of music, and the police of Austria, they said, we can't let you to go to Germany because you are not a known person, we don't know you, and if you are a refugee and you don't want to go back, you have to ask for asylum and refugee, like a refugee seeker in our country. Of course, I didn't want to do that there, but I had to. To be honest with you, I was something like 8 months there, and 3 months I used to live in mountains. I was in contains and blue contains at the border of Bratislava, the border of Slovakia, and it was a horrible situation. And we had no supermarket, we had no possibility to buy water also. And I'm talking, of course, I'm so thankful about this country because finally I could get my private apartment. But at first, for 3 months, I was in very, very horrible situation. And finally, the police of Austria was looking for me to send me back.
Okay.
Yes, they wanted to send me back to Italy because there is a reason, which is Dublin, I think, and it says the first country in Europe has to be responsible. And I didn't know that because they said you have had a fingerprint in Italian embassy in Iran, and then it is Schengen area and you must go back. To be honest with you, I was afraid and I escaped. And I escaped and I came to Germany. Before to come to Germany, I met Mr. Jonas Kaufmann. He is the most famous German singer in the world, opera singer, and he is, I think, I can say one of the most greatest tenor in our time. And I had the chance to meet him in front of the Wien Staatsoper, front of the door of Staatsoper in Wien, and it was Tosca at 8th of May 2017. I remember the date. And he also suggested me, it will be great if you can go to Germany, and then about so many reasons. And I'm so happy because I wanted to come, and finally I'm here. If I want to talk about the situation of Germany, I think people are so nice to me, and I'm so pleased about that. Of course, everywhere you can find so many people who are not understanding and understandable about the situation. Let's say sometimes I could get some comments. They said, yes, you are using our money, you are using our taxes, and something like that. Of course, I was so apologized because nobody wants to leave his mom country. I have my sister, I have my mother. They are my whole life, and then I'm far from them approximately 2 years. I've never seen them, and then it's not easy for everybody who is here refugee. And I don't want to call ourselves refugee because, as well, I think 100 years ago, so many Polish people, they came to Iran as a refugee, and maybe so many Germans, they don't know that. We have had Polish refugees in our country. And we have millions of great Afghani people. They are learning in the school. They are very good. They are not problematic for Iran, and they are so welcome to our country. I think maybe 2 or 3 millions. They are living in Iran as a refugee, but they are allowed to work. But of course, they have more limitations than us in Germany. But they are allowed to be in Iran. And it's not about money, it's not about economy, because we have so many possibilities in our country. We have so much petrol, we have so much money, and to be honest with you, we are sleeping on oil because we are a very rich country. But the system is not social democratic as Germany is. We need a system like Germany. I don't want to say German system is the most perfect system in the world, but it can be because not one person can decide. You have so many parties, so many groups, and Mrs. Merkel is not the only person who decides. She has power, but she is not the only power. But in the countries, the kind of countries like our country, even the president has not more possibilities to decide. And of course, I have no problem with I'm not a politic activator anymore, but I tell you the things which made me limit and limit and limit.
Okay. What would you, as a last question, what would you wish for your future in Germany? What are your plans here?
Of course, first of all, I came here to be protected. And as an opera singer who is 32 years old now, I can say we opera singers after the age of 28, 27, 28, if we can't find our career, we can be called old singer. It's like a football players, because the career of football player is until the age of 30, 32, 33. Otherwise, you will be retired. And I hope I will have a possibility in Germany and in Europe to do the things which I was born for. And I didn't select and choose to be an opera singer. I had a voice, my teacher and my friends and students, and that's why it was my profession. And fortunately, this year I will be in one of the most great competitions in Germany. I can't mention the name because it's in the casting, and then if I mention that, maybe they will kick me out. Okay. And yes, it is one of the featuring of me. And the last thing I wanted to mention, it is the maybe misunderstanding of so many also refugees and some German people, great German people. They are so nice to me, I told you, but still, so many of Germans, they think we are using their money. In somehow they are right. In another way, of course, there is a right about that. And you selected the governments, and governments had enough reasons to do that. For me personally, do you think I need this social help? No. I had money in my country. I had house, I had money, I had car, I had everything. Now I'm not allowed to work. That's why I need social help. If they let me to work, I can earn 3 times bigger than job center money. If they let me, because I'm a professional person. But the rules in job center must be continuing as they decide for you. And in Germany, du musst warten. You have to wait. And I think the bureaucracy is like this. If you have a profession, you have no more chance to do it at the time you like. And waiting times is killing the time. But I think if I get the possibility to work, then I have to pay tax, like you Germans. And then it will be mutual work and win-win. All of us can use the old money.
Thank you, Shahram, for your time and for being here and sharing your personal life and political situation in Iran with us. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. And it was my pleasure to be here. And I'm looking forward for the future of mine and all of the people who are here.
Yeah. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned on Refugee channel. There will be more talk shows like this on the TV. And yeah. Bye-bye.